If you're a roofer, you'd better know how to drive a nail. And if you're a plumber, you'd better know how to plunge a toilet. And if you're a race car driver, you'd better know how to shift a gear. And that's what we're talking about today on the racing line. So what's the point in shifting gears? Well, I hate to disappoint you, but even your Lamborghini or Z06 has far more weight than it does power. So we need gears to keep a gas engine operating in its relatively narrow power band. This is roughly what it looks like. You can see that the higher the RPM, the higher the horsepower and torque. So it's your job to use gears to keep your engine spinning to its full potential. Well, the first thing we've got to talk about is when you shift. And the answer is a simple one. Shift in a straight line, not in the corners. Shifting can upset the car, so finish downshifting before the turn in and start upshifting at the track out. Always aim to get the proper gear for leaving the turn while you are braking for it. Simple enough? Of course, before we talk about how to shift, let's talk a little bit about what we'll be shifting. Modern cars come in two basic categories, automatics and manuals. Automatics try to do the whole job for you. They come as a traditional torque converter type or the modern dual clutch. But a high-performance driver should know how to drive a real 3-pedal stick with a manual clutch. So that's where we'll start. Upshifting, that's the easier part. Lift off, clutch in, move the lever, clutch up, back on the gas. Yet there's still definitely an art to a good upshift. If you time it just right with a quick snap, the gears will slide together happily. Upshifting is also easier because the revs are naturally falling to what the higher gear needs. Time it so it's perfectly smooth on engagement with zero nasty clutch slip. That's enough about that. Let's move on to the real magic, downshifting. If you downshifted like you upshifted on the track, the engine speed wouldn't match the wheel speed. And as you let out the clutch, the car will engine brake, upsetting the balance of the car and straining the drivetrain. It's the equivalent of braking with just the rear wheels. And that's only good if you're trying to initiate a drift. But don't worry, there's a solution. The magic of heel and toe downshifting. But before we get into that, let's look at rev matching. Rev matching is blipping the throttle while downshifting to bring the engine speed up for the lower gear. First, depress the clutch. Then shift and blip the throttle simultaneously. Then release the clutch. Like any new technique, it takes some practice. But once you master rev matching, you'll be ready to move on to heel and toe. Heel and toe is rev matching while braking. I know what you're thinking. You want me to clutch, gas, and brake all at the same time? It'll take a third leg to pull that off. Really? Well, having a third leg would be nice. It's really not necessary. The secret lies in having your right foot do double duty, braking with the ball of your foot and blipping the throttle with the heel or side of your foot. Here's what it looks like. First, depress the brake firmly with the ball of your foot. Next, clutch in. Third, downshift. Next, stab the throttle and give it more revs than you need. And lastly, release the clutch quickly before the engine loses revs. Remember two things. Braking is always the priority, and heel and toe does not work slowly. If done right, your shifts will be like butter. Most importantly, you won't be causing any sudden shocks to the drivetrain or weight transfer in the chassis. If you get it wrong, though, you'll be upsetting the car at the worst possible moment, at the turn-in. So let me do it incorrectly to show you what happens. That's hard for me. In other words, never do this. You can't talk about shifting without talking about tires. In this Tire Rack Minute, we'll look at how they relate to shifting. Well, Tires are like people. Yeah, I know. Tell the president I'll be there as soon as I can. As much as we would like to believe we can drive, eat, and carry on a phone conversation at the same time, it's just not possible. So what I'm getting at is, we aren't good multitaskers, and tires aren't either. When preparing to downshift into a corner, the tire is being asked to use its traction for braking. Then an unsmooth downshift throws some engine braking into the mix. This additional load to the contact patch can cause the tire to lose grip, especially true in a corner. This is why a smooth downshift is so important. It does not shock the tire. This helps emphasize the three main goals in making a shift the best that it can be. Make it swift, make it seamless, and make it at just the right time. A good automatic can take care of all those for you. This will leave you more time to talk on the phone, eat, drink, smoke, wave, spank, punch, navigate, squeeze your lover, or God forbid, text. All of the heel and toe is done for you perfectly every time. But I'm a professional. Can an automatic really do a better job than I can? Let's find out. First, I'll do a hot lap in the Cadillac ATS-V with manual transmission. Then, I'll do a lap in the automatic, and we'll see what happens. As you can see from the results, my shifting skills have been rendered obsolete. But I'm not ready to relinquish my beloved stick shift. It's so much more rewarding and engaging. Automatics give you the option to shift yourself, but you're missing the clutch. Either way though, it's a fun ride. So shift responsibly, driving enthusiasts, and we'll see you next time on The Racing Line. A few weeks ago, I'm following a car right here at this track, and going into turn 4, the thing instantly spins off the track for no apparent reason. And it turns out the driver was in 5th gear, and he was going down to 4th gear for this corner. And what he did was grab the gear lever, pull it a little too hard into 2nd, drop the clutch, lock the rear wheels, off the track he goes. A bad downshift is the quickest way there is to spin a car. Yeah, I know traffic held me up. Tell the president I'll be there as soon as I can, okay? Oh, baby! Oh, God! Oh, no! Baby! Oh, the knife! The pole!